All right, being that it is 6:30, we call this town board public hearing to order. The fire exits are outside of that door at each end of the hall. There is a defibrillator located across the hall if one is needed. Clerk, please call the roll.
Robot?
Here.
Wright?
Here.
Volko? Jaeger?
Here.
Bus?
Here. Requesting town board resolution to open the public hearing to consider the enactment of introducing local law number 4-2024, considering a 12-month moratorium on the issuance of applications and the granting of permits, licenses, or approvals for commercial solar energy systems in the town of Hammond in order to allow for the adoption amendment of appropriate regulations pertaining to such land uses.
Second.
Robot?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Volko? Jaeger?
Yeah.
Bus?
Yes. So we have done this because we really need to enact, our laws are kind of outdated when it comes to these solar fields, and we're going through and doing farmland protection, and we kind of worry about that the solar fields are just going on prime farmland, no place else, because it's a lot easier and cheaper to put them there. One is tearing up a whole bunch of our town's farmland. So, like I say, we are looking into this right now, but we are here to hear what the public has to say about this. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak about the solar moratorium or solar fields? Okay, you guys stand up and say your name.
I am Sharon Steigerwald, and I live at 2344 Roosevelt Highway in Hamlet. I've always been for solar energy. I really want to say that first. However, it just seems like solar farms are going, and I really don't like the word farm, because it's not really a farm. It's a solar lot. It's more like a used car lot. Sorry. They're just kind of going in, and then they're not really being managed. I'm also on the planning board. It seems like every so often the names are changing, maybe to protect the innocent, I'm not sure. But they come to a planning board and they are either being sold or they I hear stories about how they're not being really hooked up to the grid, and that they're having problems with lights flickering in schools or whatever. And then I'm worried about our farmland. I'm very concerned because Hamlet is a farming town, and I know it's easy for our farmers to sell to a solar lot. But if they make money doing that, and you can't tell them that they can't do that, so that their life and their livelihood will be able to do that. But why? I mean, there's got to be a better way. And we don't really know enough about solar lots to do that. And I guess I'm speaking up now because there's a proposal that one would go right behind my house. And I know that old adage is like, okay, it's fine, except not in my backyard. And I'm not against it being in my backyard. I just want to know more about it being in my backyard. So I'm for a moratorium until we can learn more about it. And I talked to the neighbors that couldn't be here tonight. None of them are totally against it. They just want to know more about solar and how it impacts our land, our property values, and the fire hazards, and everything else that goes with solar.
Thank you. The people that are outside the door, do they want to come in? Yeah, you're fine. Are you here for the solar moratorium?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. Because this is a public hearing to see whether we put a 12-month moratorium on solar lots, fields or whatever.
You're here for court.
Yes.
Road
Okay.
billing.
Yeah,
Way out there.
out the store,
Okay.
that building out there in the parking lot.
Sorry to interrupt.
You're fine. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak?
Chris
Yeah.
Schleider, live at 38 Lake Road, East Fork. I, as well, am on the planning board. Some of the questions that I foresee from looking at these come through down through the approval process is the loss of monies that are being generated in the town of Hamlin by crop propagation, okay? And the loss to the homeowner or the property owner, okay, that is leasing it, okay, to the solar facilities. Now, I understand there's some pretty hardy fines for taking a piece of property out of an agricultural district. Those fines are paid to, Ag and Markets.
I believe,
It's a
Monroe.
recapture of county taxes.
I'd say Monroe
Yeah.
County. I
They
think.
recapture the county taxes and they go back to the county.
They go back to the county.
Mhm.
Why doesn't some of that be reinvested in, just a question, why isn't it being reinvested in the town?
I have to ask the county legislators.
I know, but, I mean, that's something that, you know, should be looked into. Placing of it, the amount of property of a parcel, is it gonna be more or less than 50%? At what percentage do the property not be taken out of the ag and markets? A lot of those little things, and the fact that they're manufacturing electricity, okay, in DC voltage, changing it at a property line to AC voltage, so they can put it in a transmission line where it is way more dangerous at a shorter amount of footage for the traveling public or somebody out there for exposure rates under 8 hours, okay, to those type of electricity, okay? The electrical companies won't tell us who's benefiting of it, how many people in your town are benefiting from it, and are they really benefiting from it, or are they paying more? Or they're paying less because their taxes might be going up because the school district didn't opt out. You got school district taxes that are into it. And we've just done a reevaluation, and I know that school district taxes have gone up. So all of those are all factors that have an effect on the population of the town. Not all because of the solar facility, but in spite of. So those might be some bullet points we might want to look at over the course of the 12 months or for however long it works. And just the fact that electricity isn't coming back to the town of Hamlin, you know, sticks in your craw. And when somebody makes an application in front of my board, you know, you have to look at both sides, okay? And you can't be predetermined in your estimation, okay? You got to look at the applicant as well as the people that own the property and the neighbors. It becomes a very hard road to hoe sometimes. And what level do you deal with it? You have the right to vote yes, you have a right to vote no on a motion. But it has to be done with due diligence, and some of those things are part of the due diligence. So, thank you for listening to me.
Is there anybody else? Like I said, we have our laws that we look at solar fields, or things change rapidly, just like with computers. And so we need to redo them, we need to look at them. So we're in the middle of our ag protection farm. We need to look at that, how the solar fields protect or how they disrupt farming. I know a bunch of these solar fields, the companies put them right, if you got a 70 acre or 80 acre parcel, they'll plop that thing right out there next to the road, So the poor farmers gotta try to work around them to go get back to the, and most of the time they don't farm the backfields then, so you're not just losing 30 or 40 acres, you're losing 80 acres. Because they can't get around the things, there is a buffer zone, they have to be around there, but it's not like you can farm it or anything, it's not big enough. So, I mean, that's all the stuff. Recycling this stuff now, I mean, we put a price on it years ago. Is it hazardous material? Decommissioning is what they call it. Where they would come and they say the life expectancy of 20, 25 years. Who pays to tear it down in 20, 25 years, and how much would that cost? The price has probably gone up from what it was 10, 15 years ago, I would really imagine it has. So that's all stuff that we need to look at before, and that's why we're doing it, to look at all this stuff.
Can I ask a
Go
question
ahead.
regarding that? Is there on the backside of these deals, is there something that's established in escrow to help protect the
Yes.
landowner? Okay, that was something that was established, okay.
That's what the decommissioning,
Yeah,
it's called
I thought that was
decommissioning thing
the
is the
existing.
escrow, but is that way out of whack? Nowadays, should it be almost doubled with the way that, with the price of recycling things nowadays? It could be. All things we need to look at, so we're not taking advantage of and everything, and the government is subsidizing these things, and the power companies are making big bucks off it, we wanna make sure that Hamlin isn't losing money on it, or our farmers are losing on it. Let me see, there's a whole bunch of questions, and there's probably stuff we haven't even thought of, like I said, a school down the road from one of these fields was having, had LED bulbs, was having flickering problems. They actually turned the solar field off for a while. I don't know if they ever figured the problem out or not, to be honest with you. On a sunny day, they
The
figured.
school no longer has it.
The school no longer has a problem, so maybe they did something or whatever, but that's something we need to maybe write into our laws, and also, whatever, find out what they had to do to make sure that the lights were flickering in a school. Whether they put a buffer in, some kind of buffer that they didn't have in there, maybe we have to have a law that says you better have this buffer in there. So that the people in town don't suffer.
Or that if there's a problem, that they're responsible.
Right,
Yes. And you actually indicate.
right.
Come on in.
Are we not in there?
No.
This is a public hearing on a solar moratorium.
Are you real? For real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some thoughts.
Well, we were just
We were
talking
just
about
talking.
your school.
Yeah.
If you wanna get up and talk.
This is a public forum.
This is a public hearing, so.
Well, who's listening? I don't know.
All of
Like
it.
who? You
We're all
know?
listening.
All of Hamlin is.
I would love to tell you our experience. So my understanding, my name's Nick Russo, I'm pastor of Walker Bible Baptist Church. And, our experience was we had we switched over our entire building as per, recommendation from National Grid to LED. So our whole building went from, this, to LED, which they did a tremendous job. After that, they put in a solar field right up the road. Understanding is, the line, the power comes right by our church. And in doing so, the frequency or the amount of boost that they have to put that up to get it to the grid, really messed with our building. Now, maybe on a Sunday, that's not a big deal. But it is a big deal when you're sitting in it. The entire building flashes lights. The big difficulty came in when we had school. So we're asking kids to sit in the classroom where during peak hours, which is 10 to 2, our entire building would flash. And we were dealing with that. We were trying, I had to reach out directly to National Grid, who I tried calling. We made a lot of calls. Cheryl helped me, and so did Mr. Herbert, and they helped me get in touch with the right people. So we got connected with people, and they ended up having to shut the whole thing down because of impact on our school. And I didn't know what. So far, our experience has not been a good one, just because of the experience we had. Now I don't know if they fixed it. I don't know if it's back on. I haven't heard anything else, but I know our building isn't flashing. So that's nice. We did have to buy, because we didn't want to shut the school down, we didn't know what was happening. So instead of buying, well, we had to buy lamps, room lamps, for all the rooms, because it was so difficult to work in. It wasn't just, and Phil, you came in, you saw what that looked like. It was,
I would call it a strobe effect.
it was a struggle, and it was very difficult to maintain. Well, we had to shut the lights off. Now, again, that's okay if there's a lot of natural light coming in, and sometimes the day worked out like that. But again, the further you get away from the window, that wasn't the most ideal circumstance to have a school. We have 35, 40 kids in school, kindergarten through 12th grade. So the learning environment was not conducive. So we had to buy lamps. And then trying to find non-LED lamps these days is not easy. Everything is that. So to find the proper CFL bulbs and all of that, because I didn't want to just put one pan in the fire thing. And but within, we got the person that's in charge of our whole area, and he, I guess, worked with the solar place, and they threw a switch, right? I guess as simple as I can understand it. And we were so far, and that happened at the spring of this past year. So all summer, I don't know what they were doing because we're not in the building as much during the day, but we had no problems on the summer. So I just gotta believe either they fixed it or he said they kept running tests. They had it off for a while and then they turned it back on, and it was absolutely better. So it's just something to consider when approving them. Hey, we've had these problems. How can you guarantee that those problems will happen? I don't know if it doesn't happen in houses as much, but it certainly happened in our building significantly. That was our experience.
Thank you. Did you just walk in for this meeting or the next one?
This is okay.
This is, yeah, you're fine, this is public. I didn't know if you wanted to speak about moratorium on solar fields.
No, just want to listen.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're okay. Is there any other, does the board have any other things they want to say?
I'll just add that, we are taking, in the process of farmland protection plan, and it's been brought up with our committee, which is, there's quite a few farmers from Hamlin in the committee. They're all concerned about prime farmland being taken up and how we as a town can maybe change some code, our town code as far as where we're gonna put them, and at least make the most out of our prime farmland that we can do. Not that we can stop them all, but we preserve the prime. I mean, Hamlin's sitting on some of the most productive farmland in New York State, and we'd like to continue to keep it.
Plus the problems like these are new, things that are coming up, we need to really ask questions about, try to get more information. We didn't have to do it.
Any other town board members? All right then, I have a request to town board resolution to close the public hearing on introductory local law number 4-2024.
So moved.
Second.
Burbine,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Wilco, Jaeger,
Yes.
Goss.
Yes. Request town board resolution for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everybody.